Fear is crippling in the sense that without fear, you might actually perform much better. It's like having a steady hand. When you have fear, now you're going to be shaking, you're going to mess up. Without fear, you'll perform much better. But now that you have this fear, you've actually created the problem yourself. So that problem never existed before you created the problem in your head. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Jay's Perspective. And today I want to talk to you guys about what does fear mean, okay? So I want to tackle fear from three different angles, three perspectives. First, an acronym for fear. Second, how is fear a good thing? And how is fear a bad thing, okay? So, or bad then good, doesn't matter, right? So to start off, the acronym that I've heard for fear is false evidence appearing real. If you heard the acronym before, you can let me know in the comment sections. If you haven't, just listen. So, false evidence appearing real as in sometimes we're afraid of things that is not really going to do anything to us. We're afraid of things that probably can't happen or won't happen. It's unlikely to happen, but we just have this big fear, like this crippling in our mind that has made us, like I said, crippled. It has made us unable to do something, unable to approach something or address something or whatever when we see it. So the best examples I could give you, say, one, a lot of women, right, are afraid of mice and things of that nature, right? Now, when you come in contact with a mouse, it's probably not gonna kill you. You probably just see it running around or whatever the case may be. What has a mouse really ever done to you? Let me ask you that question. What has it done to you, really? Other than the fact that you see it and you just, a woman screams like, oh my gosh. But what has it done to you? It hasn't really done anything. You just, I don't know, maybe you just don't like the sight of it. Maybe the sight of a mouse looks scary, even though to me, a mouse, like the structure of their body and everything, doesn't really look scary. But it's things like that, right? So you're afraid of a mouse, no real reason other than, I don't know, it just be running around and you don't like the way it looks, whatever the case may be. But you're afraid of it. You're terrified, get it away from me, right? Not saying you want mice in your house because you don't want to have a dirty house and this and that, whatever, but in regards to what the mouse can do to you or what's going to happen, anything like that, nothing's really going to happen regarding the mouse. It's just going to be there and probably just eating stuff in your house or whatever the case may be. What's good, y'all? As I was editing this video, I realized another example for false evidence appearing real is actually scary movies, right? When you watch scary movies all the time, it's completely fake. It's false evidence, but it's appearing real to you in the way that they show the makeup, the blood, the gore, and everything. It still manages to make people scream and get people terrified when they're in the movie theaters and things of that nature. I don't want to go too in depth with this example, but I did want to bring it up because I really thought about it as I was editing the video. Like, scary movies is literally false evidence appearing real, and it terrifies people. So just wanted to bring that up to you guys. Let's get back to the rest of the video. Another thing with fear that makes it false evidence appearing real. Sometimes we have a fear about doing something in our lives that is really not going to be as bad as we thought it would be. We create this mental image and this mental process of what's going to happen, or we create an exaggerated sense of what's going to happen or what we think could happen, and we start to think of all the worst case scenarios and this and that. Maybe you have to do some type of presentation tomorrow for work or school, whatever the case may be, and you start thinking of worst case scenarios. What if I stutter like this? What if I do this? What if I do that? And the thing about scenarios like that is fear is crippling in the sense that without fear, you might actually perform much better. It's like having a steady hand. When you have fear, now you're going to be shaking, you're going to mess up. Without fear, you'll perform much better. But now that you have this fear, you've actually created the problem yourself. So that problem never existed before you created the problem in your head, but now you've created in your head. Now when you go to do that presentation, you might do all the stuttering and everything else because you're like thinking really, really hard about it, right? That's why Nike uses the term just do it, right? You just do something because sometimes it's best for us to not think about it. When we think about it, that's when we mess things up for ourselves because we start to overthink the situation, overanalyze it, and we ruin it for ourselves. So if you go in there with a steady hand, if you go in there not even thinking about the fact that you got to do a presentation, that you got to do this today, you'll probably come out doing it much better than if you went into it in a panic mode. Because now you're in a panic mode. What happens when you panic? Your heart start racing. Sometimes you might start sweating, all this other stuff. Like I said, you get shaky. Your voice might get shaky too. So now people hear that in your voice. And it doesn't really become about the presentation anymore. It just really becomes about the fact that you're nervous and people can see that you're nervous. And now you're messing up because you're nervous. But you're only nervous because of the things that you made yourself think about. But in reality, you might have all the knowledge, all the information, everything that you need to do this correctly. But you've created this false evidence in your head that you will do bad. And now you've made it real evidence. Now you really do bad, but that's because you've created that for yourself, right? So that's how fear is false evidence appearing real, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Number 2, how can fear possibly be a good thing? Fear could be a good thing in ways for people because fear lets us know when something is off, something is wrong, when we need to avoid a certain thing, a certain situation, whatever the case may be. So example, some people, I forgot what it's called, the terminology for people, some people that can't feel pain, but some people literally cannot feel pain, right? I forgot what the terminology is called, but say you're a person, you were not able to feel pain, right? Now, when we don't like pain and we have an association with pain that if we know something is going to be painful, we are afraid of that thing. We're afraid to get shot, right? You don't want to just get shot. You know that's going to hurt. You also know it could kill you, but you know it's going to hurt. You're afraid to get shot because of the pain associated with it, also because it's associated with death. But what if you don't feel pain for certain things, right? So maybe you don't associate getting shot all the time with death because, you know, you get shot in certain places and not die. You could probably shoot me in my arm right here and I'm going to be just fine, right? But I'll still be afraid to get shot in my arm because I know how excruciating that pain is going to be. Now, say I'm one of those people that can't feel pain. If I can't feel pain, I'm not going to think nothing of you shooting me in my arm because I already know I'm not going to feel it. I'm like, okay, what's it going to do to me? Boom, you shoot me. Blood everywhere. Everybody else is screaming. I'm sitting there like, okay, like now patch me up, right? But that's the thing. Fear helps us and stops us from doing certain stupid things, right? So when we're afraid of certain things, when we know the consequence, maybe you're afraid to go outside past a certain time because you know crime rate is up at this time, like you outside past 2 a.m. or you afraid to go past a certain corner because you know there's criminals over there and people you see who hangs over there and stuff like that. You're afraid to go over there. So your intuition and your fear tells you to stay away from that area. And it's a good thought. It's a good idea because there are other people that go in that area that aren't afraid of that area that end up getting shot, end up getting killed, end up getting, or, you know, getting sent to the hospital, whatever, end up in terrible situations. So fear in some cases helps you make good judgment about what you should do and what you should not do. Now, here's the bad thing about fear, which kind of goes back to connecting to false evidence appearing real. Sometimes, well, just like that, you're going to be afraid of stuff that you have no reason to be afraid of. There's going to be things you have absolutely no reason to be afraid of, but you've just created the idea in your head that there is something to be afraid of. This is going to happen, right? So you try to avoid things that actually sometimes could even be good for you. Maybe if you did something in your life, maybe there's a certain step you need to take. Sometimes we need to be uncomfortable to grow. Maybe we're uncomfortable and we're fearful of doing something, so we stop ourselves from doing it just because we have a fear of what's going to come after that, right? So some people might, you know, be getting ready to get married. You might have somebody you love, you're in love with them, whatever. The wedding comes, you know, people have pre-wedding jitters, whatever the case may be. All of a sudden, you in a panic. But every day leading up to this person's wedding, they was mad excited. They was like, all right, you know, like, this is the love of my life. I could do this. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm so ready. Then the moment comes. There's always sometimes when you're excited about something and then the moment actually arrives. And for some reason, when the moment arrives, the fact that it's becoming real to you becomes extremely scary. Even though you already determined before logically that this is a good idea for you, this is something that you want to do, it becomes scary once it becomes real. And part of the reason it becomes scary once it becomes real is because now you start to think, dang, once this becomes real, there's the chance and the opportunity that this can fail. You start thinking, what happens if this fails? You don't know if it will, but you start thinking, what happens if this fails? And you don't want to find out if it fails, so you get scared and you sabotage it and you make sure this thing never happens. But you can't be afraid of failure. You can't just be thinking, oh, what if this fails? What if this? What if that, right? You can't do that. But at the same time, in your head, you're constantly just overloading on that thought. Like, no, I don't want to fail. Sometimes you don't want to see, you don't want other people to see you fail, right? So you don't want other people to see you fail. And you're thinking it's a possibility that you might fail. So you'll stop doing whatever it is that you were gonna do just so people don't have to witness you fail. You don't want to see people, let people see you fall flat on your face. You don't want anybody to see you mess up. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to experience the letdown of messing up. You know, when we avoid certain things that could be great for us, that's the problem with it though. If you avoid certain things, this could be something that takes your life to new heights, new levels, and just completely changes your life, right? But you're afraid of that not happening. You're afraid of the failure. And now that you're afraid of failure, you're not even going to attempt it. So fear can cripple you in that way because now you just missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime. Because, yeah, you spent a lot of time thinking about what if you did fail, but what if you didn't fail? What if that was the thing that you were going to do that was going to change everything for you? And now you're never going to know because you let fear cripple you. So that's my main point on fear, guys. You could tell me what you think about fear down in the comment section. Tell me what you think about false evidence appearing real. Tell me what you think is good about fear, what you think is bad about fear. I know for a fact I have some friends that straight up tell me, yo, I'm not even afraid to die. There's some people like, they ain't afraid of nothing. And it's just like, dang, like, you ain't afraid to die, I ain't afraid of this, I ain't afraid of that. I have people tell me the only thing I'm afraid of is being broke and being homeless. All right, cool. Whatever. Everybody has their own thing. Some people are extremely afraid of too many things. Some people might be afraid of too little things. You know? There's a balance that you gotta have. So fear is good and bad. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But remember, guys, this is just Jay's perspective. Everything that I say is just what I think. It's just what I do. You don't gotta follow it. You do you. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch y'all in the next one.